It's so lovely to see everybody. Really, really nice. While we're here, look around to your neighbors. Just look around. See who you're sharing space with today. Say hello, neighbors. Hello. It changes the energy of the space, right? So let's briefly go around the room and check in. Share your name. Let me know if you're brand new to yoga or brand new to me. And if there's anything I need to know about your body in like 30 words or less, please let me know. You can also call me over privately and we can talk as well. All right? You can always say skip or pass. Totally cool. And I'm Kimberly if you're new to me. It's my very first yoga class. No, I'm just kidding. So today we're going to... My intention is to do a very mindful, gentler class today. We will stretch everything. There's a number of reasons why I'm leaning in this direction. If you follow astrology, Mercury is retrograde for another few days. If you don't believe in that, totally cool. It's a little granola, I get that. But it's a nice time to kind of slow down, to be a little more introspective, to be really mindful. It's an easy time to, well, any time's an easy time to push yourself too hard and get, injured. But we want to kind of slow it down and really be mindful in our actions so we don't hurt ourselves, right? That being said, we'll move towards a meditation. So once again, make sure you have something comfortable to sit on. Make sure you have a couple blocks, which I didn't grab, but a couple blocks. I think there's more straps that just came in the door. Make sure you have a strap. If you don't, at some point I'll bring one over to you. Just raise a hand. And let's start by centering. So we'll start sitting today. If sitting feels challenging for you, totally cool. We often start lying on our backs in this class. So if you want to start lying on your back, totally fine. Sit up high enough that you're not curling your tailbone under, right? So just for fun, just for curiosity purposes, imagine you're sitting at a computer, right? So begin to round your spine, round your shoulders. You might even jut your chin forward, make little typing movements with your hands, just for fun. And try to breathe. Pretty uncomfortable, I think. And then plant your hands down, sit up nice and tall here. You might close your eyes if you like. And breathe. Might feel so much better. Might not. This might even feel new or different or uncomfortable because you're so familiar with that rounding, collapsing. So sitting up nice and tall, really the first rule of breathing. You could do it lying on your back as well. So once again, elevate your hips enough that you have a lumbar curve. So you might even reach around, bring your hand to your low back. See if there's a little curvature there. And if there's not, reach back, pull the flesh away from your sitting bones or pull the buttocks flesh back. It's a weird thing we do in our yoga. You might check out that lumbar curve once again. Okay. And if sitting upright doesn't feel good, you might take blocks and snuggle them under your knees. I'm going to grab those so you can see what that looks like. You want to feel like you're supported here, not holding, not gripping in your legs. And once again, if this doesn't serve you, you might sit against a wall, or you might instead come onto your back. Totally cool. You might support under your knees here if that feels better. Right? So as we arrive right here, all we're going to do is rest one hand on your low belly, one hand at your heart. One hand on your low belly, one hand at your heart. As you inhale, sit up nice and tall. As you exhale, broaden your collarbones. Allow the shoulder blades to soften onto your back towards your spine. And slide the corners of your neck back, stacking your head right over your heart. And as we arrive right here in this tall seat together, bring your attention to your natural breath. Sometimes our minds are moving so quickly or replaying our stories or our to-dos. And sometimes it's so hard to stop that speeding train and be still with the breath. It's actually why we do the physical practice. But starting here, starting now, can you keep that attention on your breath? slow down that moving train perhaps and bring the mind home. Let's together take an inhale through your nose, and as if you're getting into a warm bath out the mouth. Close the lips. Do that one more time through the nose, as if you're getting into a warm bath out the mouth. Close the lips softly. Through the nose, smooth inhale. A little pause at the top. Through the nose, long exhale. A pause at the bottom. Continuing, inhaling, a pause, 1 to 3 seconds. And exhaling, a pause, 1 to 3 seconds. Continuing just like that. And with the lips softly together, you might even hear that sound much like getting into a warm bath or an ocean sound. You might hear that sound on both the inhalation as well as the exhalation. In our yoga, we call this yogic breathing, or sometimes we call it ocean breathing. Without forcing, without pushing. Soft sound audible for you and your immediate neighbors. You can always choose a natural breath, totally fine. But be here now with the breath. Good. Take one more breath here. And then I invite you to call to mind a word or phrase that brought you to the practice today. We'll call it our intention. When your intention is crystal clear, relax your hands down to your knees or your lap. And softly begin to flutter your eyes to open, taking in your surroundings. Let's bring your hands behind you, lean back, stretch your legs forward. I'm just going to scooch back so I don't fall off the podium. My legs are so long that it's very easy for me to fall right off the edge of this podium. Sarcasm. And then when you're ready, switch the crossing of your shins, please. So your non-dominant shin is forward. Although I've been told that on camera I look quite tall. So I want to release the neck a bit here. So once again, make sure you can sit up nice and tall. If you need to change or support your seat, please, please do that. And all we're going to do is rest your hands comfortably wherever feels good, touching something, not just hovering. Sit up nice and tall. And all we're going to do is draw the chin down towards a lifted sternum bone, the top of the chest here. Keep the collarbones broad, the shoulders relaxed, and chin drawing down. See how that feels. And then moving with breath always in this Hatha yoga practice, begin to roll the chin towards your right armpit. A little pause there. And then roll it down through center to the other side. A little pause there. And slowly moving back and forth, almost like you're tracing a little necklace on your sternum bone. Nice and easy. Little pauses on either side. And as we move through our practice together today, if you come across something interesting, curious, you might stay there and breathe. There's a quote I want to say by Jason Crandall who says, yoga is about being deeply curious about who you are. Yoga is about being deeply curious about who you are. You might stay with this or draw the chin down, pause. And very slowly stack your head right over your heart. The eyes can stay closed or the eyes can softly open. And I want you to imagine there's a chalkboard in front of you. And with the tip of the nose, we'll begin to trace a dinner plate with the chalkboard. So when you're ready, you might start rolling the tip of the nose down and then over to a side. Bring it up. And the other side. And you're welcome to make it more of a salad plate. All I ask is that you do not drop the head back or drop the head back into the sides. It's not a very safe place for the neck to be. So keep the plane forward. Good. And circling nice and slow in the opposite direction. I often hear little crackling sounds, especially when I make little head circles earlier in the day. Fascia, or connective tissue of the body, actually 3 layers of it, that often get pretty bound up when we sleep. So combing out the fascia a bit here. And the next time the chin draws down, we'll take a pause. And stack the head right over your heart. Good. Bring your hands back, lean back, stretch your legs forward. Shake out the knees. We're going to do a little core work. You up for some core work? What? This is my favorite way to work the core. Some people, if I tell them I'm going to work the core this way, will actually not come to my class. So hopefully you'll enjoy it as much as I do. So one of my favorite ways to work the core is through laughter. What? So we're going to laugh about 3 minutes together. That being said, you can keep your legs forward. I like to stretch my legs out. If you want to take a nice tall seat, once again, you're welcome to do that, right? So whatever makes you sit tall, sit comfortably. Are you ready? Are you excited? You might close your eyes if you want. So when you're ready, take a nice inhale through your nose. Out the mouth, let it go. Inhale. Here. You might even rest one hand on low belly, one hand at heart once again. And just notice how you feel. There's no right or wrong. And when you feel ready, blink your eyes to open. Very, very mindfully, your favorite way, we're going to come up to stand. No rush at all. I love laughter. Who doesn't? So when you're ready, bring your feet as wide as your sticky mat is wide. Nice and parallel. Bend and straighten your knees a few times. Laughter, I think, is one of the most healing things in the world. It pumps your solar plexus. So it actually builds immunity. And it's contagious in a really healthy way. So when you're ready, bend your knees forward. Bring the heels of your hands to the tops of your thigh bones, please. Allow your thigh bones to move back. You might even stick your buttocks back a little bit here. Take an inhale, lift your heart, look up. As you exhale, slow motion melt all the way down. You might catch hold of opposite elbows here if this feels scary or you're congested. You might bring your hands to blocks instead. You can always rest your forearms on your thighs as well. You get to choose. We have 5 more breaths here. 5 more breaths here. If the heart is beating quickly, keep a little movement. You might sway a little bit from side to side. switch the crossing of your forearms. And then when you feel ready, unwind your arms to the earth or to your blocks. Keep the knees generously bent forward. Take an inhale, fill your back, please. As you exhale, roll it up just till your hands find your thighs. I'll meet you in a standing cat pose. So knees are bent, back is round. Cat cow here. As you inhale, draw your heart forward. Look forward. As you exhale, round the spine, hollow out the low belly. Again, inhale, draw your heart forward, a little pause at the top. Exhale, round, little pause at the bottom. 2 more times. Inhale, forward. Exhale to round. This time, inhale, forward. And as you exhale, we'll round all the way up. The back of the head is the last to rise. You might loop your shoulders up, back, and onto your back. And we'll heel toe the feet about hip bone distance apart. Now, what does that mean? Find a spot, a focal point, we'll call it a drishti, to gaze at, either straight forward or slightly forward and down. And all I want you to do is walk in place. And then stop walking. Look at your feet and be curious. That's typically your hip bone distance. Basically, if you were to find your hip bones, 2 very knobby points at the front of your pelvis, you should be able to draw a plumb line through the very center of your kneecaps to your second and third toes, Notice if your feet were externally rotated. That's good information. Right? If they were, we don't change the bones in our yoga. We don't want to do that. You might find a little bit of a happy medium. If your feet are more parallel, we'll keep them parallel. Lift up your toes, spread them wide, please. Anchor down on the mound of the big toe, first metatarsal. Anchor down on the mound of the pinky toe, 5th metatarsal. Anchor down in the center of your heels. Allow the arches of your feet to softly lift. And then relax your toes down. Imagine each toe was a little turtle sticking its head out of its shell. And then imagine there was a thin sheet of paper underneath your toes. Try not to indent it. So we're stable and soft. Unlock your knees. You might even rebend your knees a little bit more than you think you should. And just for fun, bring your thumbs to the creases of your hips in the front. What a weird thing to do. These are your groins, right? So notice, use your thumbs to press around a little bit. Notice if you're tucking your tailbone under. That's good information. Or notice if you're clenching or gripping there. So can you soften the creases of your hips? It is a little personal here. Soften, deepen the groins. And when you do that, the knees might bend more, the buttocks might even stick back more. So to me, one of the first rules of grounding is to unlock my knees and deepen my groins. If you ever see me walking around class, that's how I walk around, right? To really root down into the earth, to feel my feet. So keep the knees soft, groin soft. Bring one hand to your low belly, one hand to your sacrum, please. That triangular plate at the base of your spine. Without tucking your tailbone under, begin to drape the flesh, the buttocks towards your heels. Maybe something happens under your front hand. So once again, it's not a curling like a cat shape. You might even play with that, stick the buttocks back, deepen the groins, and then drape the flesh, the buttocks down until you feel, we'll call it support in your low belly. So we have this nice neutral pelvis. Unwind the arms. And notice the cage of your ribs. If you're really bendy or flexy like I tend to be, draw the cage of the ribs right over the bowl of the pelvis, and the head will typically stack right over your heart. Each time you start to move the head forward towards a computer screen, it adds 10 more pounds of weight on the cervical spine, right? So the head stays nice and stacked here. Bring the backs of your hands or maybe your palms to your bottom outermost ribs, or really your side ribs. Keep the collarbones broad. You might even draw your elbows back a little bit here. Good. And what would it feel like to inhale out into your hands? Not up, but out. Exhale, draw the ribs back together. It might take a few times. So inhale out into your hands. Keep the shoulders soft. And exhale, ribs draw back in. Try that 1 or 2 more times. You might close your eyes. It can get so easy sometimes, especially if we're going like that train, to start to breathe up here, right? And sometimes that goes into the neck, the chin, throat. We call that anxiety. So bringing the breath down, breathing out into your hands. And you might even imagine, not even imagine, but you might even be able to breathe out circumferentially into all sides of the rib cage. Birds will chirp when you do this. Birds love diaphragmatic breathing. I think it is Judith Lassiter that says, it's Donna Farhi that says, full body breathing is a full expression of life. It oscillates your joints, tones your organs. Full expression of life. So we'll play with this breath today, but we'll emphasize it through movement. Bring your palms together at your heart, please. Once again, soften your knees. If at any point you want to create a wider base to ground down more, that is always available for you. You're welcome to bring the feet as wide as your sticky mat is wide. Let's take an inhale through your nose, please. As if you're getting into a warm bath, out the mouth. Close the lips softly, please. As you inhale, widen your arms out, palms up, shoulders soft. Exhale, bring it back to the heart. So same intention of breath here. As you inhale, send the breath out into your bottom side ribs. Shoulders soft. Exhale, bring it back in. Head right over your heart. Do this a few more times. Inhale, open, expand. A little pause at the top. Exhale, bring it back in. Pause at the bottom. Good. This time, inhale, open, expand. We're going to retain the breath. Look at your right palm, palm up. Look at your left palm, palm up. Gaze forward. If you have more breath, inhale more side ribs. And as you exhale, bring it back in. Inhale, open, expand. Little pause at the top. Exhale, bring it back in. And pause at the bottom. Again, inhale, open, expand, retain the breath. Keep the shoulders soft. If you have more breath, inhale more side ribs. Exhale, bring it back in. Inhale, open, expand. A little pause at the top. You need to pause or rest or need a tissue, let me know. Exhale, bring it back in. Again, inhale, open, expand. A little pause at the top. Exhale, bring it back in. Hold out the breath. Empty all the breath out, 97%. Deepest breath yet, inhale, open. Exhale, bring it back in. And 2 more, just like that, nice and easy. Inhale, open, expand. Little pause. Exhale, bring it back in. Pause at the bottom. And 1 more time, please. Inhale, open, expand. We'll take pause here, relax your arms down. You might straighten your knees. You might close your eyes if they're not already. And just notice the breath. And when you feel ready, blink your eyes to open. You can step your feet together, shake out anything that needs shaking. So I'm going to show this next one. So some of us are brand new to the practice. So I'm going to recommend using blocks. I'll show it with and without blocks as well. So you'll set your blocks up, and if you want to do this with me, feet can be hip bone distance apart. Once again, sensitive low back, or if you're feeling a bit ungrounded today, you'll widen your stance. And you'll set your blocks up so the blocks are at the highest level right under your shoulders, Not so far back that your wrists are forward, not so far back that you're about to fall on your face, but a wrist right under your shoulders here, spine is long. And if you're down here with me, bring your hands to your hips. Bend your knees and inhale, come on up. So watch just for a moment. I'm going to turn to face you since I'm really close to this wall here. So I'm going to keep my feet a little bit wider today. I'm going to soften my knees. So just watch. We'll relax the arms down. We'll take a breath together. We'll keep the lips together this time. As you inhale, arms will either stretch out to the sides, or if it feels good, you might reach the arms up. You might even look up. You're welcome to press palms. As you exhale, we'll reach the arms out, just like we did before. Bend the knees, hinge forward, hands to the blocks, or if you have really long arms, don't need the blocks, you're welcome to bring your hands down. I have really short arms that I won't talk anymore about. I'll keep the spine long. We'll take an inhale, grow longer, shifting the weight a little bit towards your toes. We'll stay here for the exhale today. We'll draw the navel softly towards your spine, supporting the low back. Now I'm keeping my knees nice and bent here. Reach the arms out to the sides. And with a long spine, inhale, come all the way up. Arms can stay here or reach to the sky. And as you exhale, we'll open the arms wide, gaze forward. We'll call this Tadasana. And we'll do this thousands of times. I'm just kidding. We'll do this about 3 times. So you're welcome to keep the feet wide. If your quads start talking to you, you might narrow your stance. But honor what feels good today, right? They're different. I'm going to keep my feet a little wide. So feet parallel, unless you have natural external rotation. Bend and straighten your knees a few times. Oh, I always put my arms like this. I just do. Relax your arms down, find a focal point, find a drishti. We'll start with a breath. Inhale through the nose. And through the nose, nice long exhale. Okay. And here we go. Inhale, stretch your arms out, maybe all the way up. Palms might press. As you exhale, reach out, bend your knees, hinge at the hips. Deepen your groins, hands to the blocks or the floor. We'll keep the spine long. As you inhale, grow longer. Shift the weight a little bit forward towards your toes. Back of the neck is long. Stay here for your exhale. Please draw your navel softly towards your spine. Bend the knees, reach the arms out to the sides like bird wings. With a long spine, inhale, come all the way up. Stretch up, reach up, you might look up. And we'll exhale, open the arms wide. Tadasana. Good. And let's repeat. Inhale, breathe your arms out, maybe all the way up. A little pause at the top. As you exhale, reach out, bend the knees, hinge at the hips, deepen your groins, lengthen the crown of your head forward, hands to blocks or floor. Keep the spine long, take an inhale, grow longer. Stay for your exhale, navel towards your spine. Bend your knees, arms to the sides. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Legs are the last thing to straighten. And exhale, open your arms wide. Tadasana, mountain pose. Good. One more time together. Inhale, stretch your arms up, please. Pausing at the top. As you exhale, reach out, bend the knees, hinge at the hips, deepen your groins. Hands to blocks or floor. Inhale, lengthen forward. Stay for your exhale, navel to spine. You might bend your knees, arms reach out. With a long spine, inhale, come all the way up to stand. Reach up, you might look up. Exhale, open your arms wide. Tadasana. Good. We'll take pause here once again. You might close your eyes and feel what is yours to feel. Every posture we take in our Hatha Yoga has a residue, has an effect. Every choice we make in our life has an effect. And sometimes we don't pause to notice. When you're ready, blink your eyes to open. Step your feet together. Shake out anything that needs shaking. So you can move your blocks to the side. We won't need them right now. And for this next one, let's all bring the feet about 3 feet apart, about as wide as your sticky mat is wide. You might bend and straighten your knees a few times. And then without locking out the knees, begin to straighten. Without locking out the knees, begin to straighten. So a little micro bend there. The groins are a bit soft. Arms are relaxing down. So watch this for a moment. We'll get into the side ribs a little more here. I'm going to ask you to inhale the right arm up. Now you can always bring the hand to the shoulder as well. If you have more breath, we inhale more, reach up more. And as you exhale, pardon me, we'll inhale more. We'll hold the breath. Take a tiny side bend. And then we'll exhale all the way down. So I'll show that again. We inhale left arm. If you have more breath, inhale more. We're going to hold the breath, tiny side bend. And then we exhale. Do just about 2 or 3 of those. All right? So less is more here. Legs are straightening, not locking. Groins are softening. Stack your ribs, stack your head. And we'll take an inhale through the nose. And through the nose, nice smooth exhale. We'll start with the right arm. Inhale, right arm reaches up. If you have more breath, inhale more. Hold the breath, tiny side bend, up, 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 up. Think, reach up, up, up. And exhale. Good. Second side, inhale left. If you have more breath, inhale more. Hold the breath, tiny side bend, keep reaching up, 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 up. Exhale. Good. Just do this one more time. Inhale, right arm reaches up. Inhale more. Hold the breath, side bend. Maybe the hips move a little bit to the right. Just an option. Keep reaching up, 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 up. Exhale. And last time, inhale left. Inhale more. Reach up to go over, hold the breath. Maybe the hips move a little bit to the left this time. Exhale. Good. We'll take pause here. You might close your eyes. You might rebend or bend and straighten your knees. Notice your breath. Good. Heel toe your feet about hip bone distance apart. Shake out anything that needs shaking. So we'll keep the feet hip bone distance apart here. And soften your knees. And bring your hands about 2 to 3 inches below your navel, about a half an inch apart. Keep the collarbones broad. And do a grounding breath. As you inhale, draw the hands up towards your collarbones. And as you exhale, press the palms down. You might bend, soften the knees. Again, inhale, drawing energy up, and just to the collarbones. And exhale, ground it down. You might close your eyes. Do this a few more times. At the rhythm of your breath. Maybe you're moving slower, maybe faster. And take 2 more. One more. And take pause there. Relax your arms. You might straighten your knees. Okay. And let's take a quarter turn with the left leg towards the non-door wall. We'll bring the feet about through. Let's stretch your arms out. So I want to give a choice of bringing your ankles right underneath your wrists. If you are newer to the practice or returning to the practice, you might shorten your stance a little bit. It's going to make it a little more accessible. Bring your hands to your hips, please. Deep within the hip socket, pivot your right toes forward towards this side of the room. So all 5 toes forward. Once again, if this bothers your knee in any way, you would adjust at the foot. Look at your back foot, please. Look at your back foot. And we're going to pick up that back heel and pivot it a half an inch back. Now, if I were to trace a line from my front heel, it should intersect the mid-arch of your back foot. If your low back is particularly sensitive today, you might even try heel to heel. It's different, creates a wider base. As your feet ground down, take an inhale here. As you exhale, bend your front knee forward, gaze right over your front shoulder. Inhale, straighten the front knee. Do this a few times. Exhale, bend the front knee. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. This time, exhale, bend and stay, or consider staying. Check out your front foot. Notice if it's changed or swiveled. Can you keep that foot forward? Front knee right over the ankle. If the knee is bothered here in any way, once again, adjust the foot. I can't feel what you're feeling. Bring your attention to your right buttocks, please. Wrap that right buttocks flesh under. What a weird thing to do. It's almost as if your sitting bones could draw towards one another. Bring your left hand to the front of your left thigh. And press your thigh bone back towards your neighbor directly behind you. Allow that outer left foot to ground down. Breathe. Gazing right out over your front shoulder. You might stay here or stretch your arms open. We'll call this warrior 2 because that's what it's called. Gazing right out over your front middle finger. And breathe. 2 more breaths. Side waist nice and long. Side waist nice and long. If you find your shoulders touching your ears, roll your palms open. Melt your shoulder blades onto your back. Turn the palms down. Maybe bend the front knee deeper. And then we'll inhale, straighten your front knee. Exhale your hands to your hips. Parallel your feet. Pause. Bend and straighten your knees a couple times. Reground, reroot. And then we'll go right to the second side. So deep within the hip socket, pivot your left toes towards the window wall. Straight forward. And check out your back foot, your right foot. Pick up your right heel, pivot it a ½ an inch towards the front wall, this wall. Once again, we are heel to arch alignment, or if you played with heel to heel and found it interesting, you might play there again. As you root your feet down, take an inhale here. Exhale, bend your front knee forward. We'll take pause here. Check out your front knee. I want your front knee right over the ankle. If the knee is beyond the ankle, heel toe your front foot a little bit forward-er. Or you're welcome to make it smaller. And then inhale, straighten your front knee. As you exhale, rebend, but keep the anchor of your back leg. Move in and out. Inhale, straighten your front knee. Exhale, rebend. And one more time, inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend your front knee forward towards that second and third toe. We'll pause there. That left buttocks flesh is wrapping under. Left buttock flesh is wrapping under. And your right thigh bone is leaning back towards your neighbor directly behind you without locking out your knee. Root the outer right foot down, either gazing right over that left shoulder, or inhale, stretch your arms open into warrior 2. Arms are in line with the shoulders here. You might even peek at your back arm, see what it's doing. Sometimes it has a mind of its own. Good. Maybe the palms roll open. Shoulder blades soften. Turn the palms down. Maybe bend a little forward. Great. As your next inhale, straighten your front knee. Exhale your hands to your hips. Parallel your feet. And we'll heel toe the feet, one heel toe closer, about 3 feet apart. You might have your blocks reachable here. We're going to set up for a forward fold. I often take my blocks just like I did before, right under my shoulders. If you're setting them up, please bend your knees to do that. And I'll meet you standing. So with your hands on your hips, we'll start with the knees soft, groin soft. Tap your elbows back. Loop your tighter shoulder up, back, and onto your back. Loop your other tighter shoulder up, back, and onto your back. Slide the corners of your neck back, please. As you inhale, lift your heart, lift your gaze, look up. You might stay here. Or exhale, bend the knees, hinge forward, hands to the floor or blocks, right under your shoulders. As you inhale, lengthen your spine parallel to the floor. You might stay here if you're congested. Or exhale, fold in and melt. Take 5 breaths here. We'll call it a resting pose. Now, if it does not feel like a resting pose, we change it. You might elevate your hands to blocks. You might even come back to forearms on your thighs here. You might bend your knees more. If the crown of your head is close to the earth or touching the earth, you might even walk the heels of your hands back so they line up with the heels of your feet. Elbows tacking towards your neighbor behind you. Shoulder blades shrugging up and onto the back here. You might even slide a block underneath the crown of the head. So very little pressure there. So light pressure if that's you. I'm not a huge fan of tripod headstand, but it is very healthy to add a little pressure on that top fontanelle, crown of the head. Okay. Keep the heels rooted. Walk your hands right under your shoulders, please. As you inhale, press the floor away, halfway rise. Bend your knees enough that your spine can really lengthen out of your low back, hips, and pelvis. Walk your hands up to your hips, please. Hug your shoulder blades towards one another. With a long spine, inhale, rise. Stay for the exhale. Widen your stance, ankles underneath your wrists, or keep the stance narrow, totally fine. Bring your hands to your hips. We'll start by repeating. Deep within the hip socket, pivot your right toes forward. Pivot your back toes a half an inch back, heel to arch or heel to heel. Take an inhale, rise tall. As you exhale, bend your front knee forward. So here we are again. Once again, front foot forward, straight forward, front knee forward. Thigh bone moving back, outer left foot, and heel rooting down. Listen carefully, gaze towards the side wall, please. I'll meet you there. Gaze towards the side wall. Imagine you have a paintbrush on the crown of your head. In a moment, we're going to paint a nice rainbow, or a nice big arch up and over to that front thigh. We'll call it side angle pose. We'll take an inhale when you're ready. Exhale up to go over either your hand on the thigh, or maybe your forearm on the thigh. Now, if your forearm is on the thigh, I don't want the elbow, I don't want the wrist, I want your forearm. Broaden your collarbones. Hug your shoulder blades towards one another. Maybe the corners of your neck lean back. Maybe you stay here or reach that top arm, left arm to the ceiling. Reach up more. Option to stay right here or roll that palm forward towards the front wall and inhale that arm alongside the ear. 3 breaths. You can always change your mind. You can always change your mind. 2 more breaths. Maybe you lift a little higher. We'll take one more inhale together. As you exhale, gaze down, navel towards your spine. Inhale, warrior 2, all the way up. Straighten your front knee, hands to your hips, parallel your toes. Bend and straighten your knees a few times. Then we'll go to the second side. So deep within the hip socket, pivot your left toes towards the front of the room, or the window wall. And your back toes slightly back. Heel to arch alignment or heel to heel alignment. Imagine I was pressing down on the outer right foot, so anchor that outer right foot down. Take an inhale when you're ready. As you exhale, bend your front knee forward, please. Good. Check out your front knee. Front knee right over the ankle. Right thigh bone leaning back towards your neighbor behind you. Root the outer foot down. Rise tall. Take an inhale up to the crown of your head. As you exhale, up to go over, side arch or side angle pose. Either hand to the thigh or forearm to your thigh. You choose. Once again, I don't want the elbow, I don't want the wrist, I want your forearm. As your forearm presses into the thigh, press out of that bottom shoulder. Broaden your collarbones, and maybe that top arm reaches up. Maybe it reaches more up. Root your feet down. Reach up more. You might stay here or turn that top palm, right palm towards the window wall and inhale that arm alongside the ear. As your feet root down, stretch longer from the outer right foot to the right fingertips. You can always change your mind. Arm to the sky or hand to the hip. Beautiful. One more full, complete breath. Nice inhale. Stay for your exhale. Gaze down. Top arm might reach to the sky. With your inhale, Vera 2, come on up. Straighten your front knee. Parallel your feet, please. Either hop or heel toe your feet all the way together. And I'll meet you at the top of your mat, please. And I'd like you to find your strap. We'll get a little strappy here. We'll do a few things. I want to get into the shoulders. So we'll start by bringing the feet about 3 feet apart, either as wide as your mat. You might even widen your feet off of your yoga mat for now. If you don't have a strap, raise a hand. We do have another basket of straps that came in the door. So right in the back corner there. Perfect, thank you so much. A basket of straps that just walk through the door by themselves. So once you have a strap, and if you prefer to interlace fingers as we open the shoulders, you're welcome to do that, but today I'm going to teach it with the strap. Bend your knees, deepen your groins, And you'll bring the strap behind you. So your hands are glued to your sacrum, that triangular plate at the base of your spine. It's almost as if your hands were sliding into pant pockets here. My hands aren't here. My knuckles are facing the window wall. So I want you to look at my shoulders, just notice a difference. So this is me with my palms back, right? Look at my shoulders. And this is me with my palms towards my body. Do you see it? Mm-hmm. So palms towards the body, bring your attention to your collarbones. Broaden your collarbones out to the outer tips of the shoulders. Allow the fronts of the shoulders to move to the backs of the shoulders. Shoulder blades to soften onto your back towards your spine. Now, what would it feel like to draw your elbows back towards the back wall? Now, if your shoulders are still rounding forward, you might be really muscular or just built that way. So you might even try widening your hands a little bit. Elbows back, fronts of the shoulders to the backs of the shoulders. Good. Head right over your heart. We're going to stay upright for now. All I want you to do, keep rolling the upper arm bones open, bend your knees, and see what it feels like to reach the strap back, not down, but back. Keep the knees a bit, keep the elbows a bit soft, please. You can even bend them generously. Once again, the palms are rolling forward. Roll your upper arm bones open, hug your shoulder blades together. Feel it? And then you might stretch the strap down a little bit without shortening your side waist. So the tendency is to really reach it down and shorten, right? So you might even think about reaching it back more. Just one more breath here. And we'll exhale, rebend, hands to your low back. Relax the strap, you can shake out either arm. So we'll do that one more time. I want to give the option of repeating, staying upright, and we'll turn it into a forward fold. We'll do it together. So we'll start with the stance nice and wide, either on or off your yoga mat. Creates a wider base, might actually make it a little bit easier. Feet either parallel or even slightly pigeon-toed. Bend your knees, deepen your groins. As we catch the strap, knuckles back once again. Broaden your collarbones. Front of the shoulders to the backs of the shoulders. Tap your elbows back. You might widen your hands. You might even narrow your hands if this is really easy for you. Keep the hands glued to the low back. We'll add a back bend. As you inhale, lift your heart, lift your gaze. You might stay here. Or as you exhale, bend your knees, fold forward, and maybe the strap lifts. Maybe the strap lifts. Keep rolling the upper arm bones open. Keep the knees soft or generously bent. You might even wag the arms a little bit from side to side, or play with the rotation of the arm bones. Using a strap, to me, I find a little more interesting. It allows you to really play with the rotation of that humerus bone, that arm bone. Explore a little more range of motion, perhaps. And take one more full breath here. And then lower the strap down to your low back, bend your knees. Tack your elbows to the sky. Keep the knees generously bent with a long spine, slow motion. Inhale, come all the way up. Ooh. Stay for the exhale. Good. We'll take a moment here. Take the strap and place the strap over your right shoulder. I want to take pause here. Sometimes when we rise up, if we rise up too quickly, it's easy to fall down. It's easy to get a head rush, right? Or if you have low blood pressure, I often rise really slowly. If you have low blood pressure, it's easy to falling down. So we'll take pause here. Ground your feet, bring your feet a little bit wider. Rest one hand on low belly, one hand at your heart. You might bend and straighten your knees a few times. Just breathe. Not just. Breathe. Deeply, fully. Another quote that says, "He who half breathes, half lives." So how deeply are you breathing? When you're ready, relax your arms down. You can step your feet together, shake out anything that needs shaking. So if you do start to feel lightheaded, please come down to do this sitting. It can be done sitting as well. We'll keep the feet about outer hip bone distance this time, so just a little bit wider than your hips. We'll keep the strap over your right shoulder and soften your knees, deepen your groins. Inhale, reach your right arm up. And then bend your elbow, give yourself a little pat on the back. Bring your left hand to the right tricep. Roll that underarm forward. Lift the elbow up. And allow the elbow to lift up more into your hand. You might catch the strap with that top hand. The head softly leaning back into your top arm. And then reach your left arm out to the left. Roll the thumb down and begin to bend your elbow, catch the strap. And you're welcome to crawl your hands closer towards one another, but be mindful that you're not shortening your left side waist. Right? So keep both sides of the ribs nice and open, nice and expansive. Head stacking. The head is softly leaning back into your top arm. And breathe. Now, what would it feel like to keep your right upper arm hugging in towards the side of your face? What would it feel like to lean the front of your left shoulder to the back of the shoulder? You might even widen your hands apart, grow taller. Breathe. Notice if you locked your knees out. Breathe long, breathe deep. And 2 more breaths. If your chin is starting to rise, draw the chin down parallel to the floor. Head softly pressing into that top hand. And the crown of the head, that top fontanelle rising towards the sun. 1 more breath. And slowly slide your bottom hand down. You might internally and externally rotate. Release the strap for a moment. Relax your other arm down. Internally and externally rotate. And a little rotation there. And then we'll switch the strap to the other side. One of my favorite stretches. My favorite way is to release the neck. You don't often think of it that way. Sometimes. Keep the knees soft. Reach your left arm up. Bend your elbow. Give yourself a little pat on the back. Bring your right hand to the underarm. Roll that tricep forward. Slide your hand up to your elbow. Lift the elbow up. You might catch the strap. So that arm is hugging in, framing the face here. Head leaning back softly into that top arm. You might stay here or reach that right arm out to the right. Roll the thumb down. Bend your elbow, catch your strap. Once again, you're welcome to crawl your hands closer if you like, but try not to shorten that side waist. Keep the side ribs expansive, breath full, deep. If your breath just got faster, or you stop breathing, widen, do less. Keep rolling or allow that upper arm to hug in to frame the face. Allow the front of your right shoulder to lean towards the back of the shoulder. Head softly leans back. You might widen your hands apart here. Breathe. Chin parallel to the floor. Jaw is soft. 1 more breath. And then when you're ready, unwind your bottom arm. You can internally and externally rotate. Good. Unwind your top arm. You can move the strap to the side. Internally and externally rotate. And then while we're here, wiggle your fingers, reach your arms out to the sides. If you need to stagger, you stagger. And once again here, we'll internally, externally rotate the arm bone. Almost like you're turning knobs with your hands. Good. And then relax your arms all the way down. I'm going to come down to sit. All the way down to sit. Raise your hand if you do not have a bolster. Okay. So have your bolster nearby. I'm going to bring you a bolster if you don't have one. You might have a couple blocks nearby as well. So we're going to start, I'll show you where we're going. We'll start in a wide angle pose. So I'm going to recommend sitting on a blanket here. You might double it up as well. I often sit on the blanket flat, but if you're curling your tailbone under, sit your hips a little higher. And we'll start with the knees pretty, we're not in a tight Baddha Konasana here, but this wide angle shape or wide diamond shape. So if you have your bolster, have it nearby. If you don't have one, I'll bring one to you momentarily. You might have your blocks nearby as well. I like to have all my props nearby. We'll take another forward fold together. We'll start together here. So bring your hands to the earth. Feel the earth. Inhale, lift your heart, lift your gaze, look up. You might stay here. As you exhale, see what it feels like to turn at the hips. You might bring your forearms to the blocks. You might relax your head here. If you have a bolster, you might set that bolster over the block, or you might set the bolster lengthwise between your knees, shins, ankles. So we're going to rest in this shape for about a minute, about 10 breaths. So if you like a bolster, I'm going to walk around with bolsters. Allow this to be a pose of softening. If your forehead is dropping way below your heart, you might stack a blanket on your bolster or a block or two. Again, if you don't have a bolster and want a bolster, raise your hand. Softening in here. I do want to show one other option. I'll finish bringing bolsters around. So sometimes it feels really helpful to add a little more support here as well. So if that's you, you can always elevate it. A little bit trickier, I think. You might play with that. I like building a little bit of a shelf here. And notice if it feels better to sit up a little taller. You can always change it if you want to begin to stretch your legs forward or lift it up your front. More breaths here. Very favorite pose. And 2 more breaths. And then rooting your sitting bones down very, very slowly. Begin to roll yourself all the way up. And move your props to the side. Support the outermost knees. Lift the knees up. Stretch your legs forward. Shake out your knees, please. And then before we make our way onto our back, I want to do a little gentle back bending today. Have one block nearby. Bend your knees, scoot yourself forward so there's plenty of space behind you. And your favorite way, I'll meet you lying all the way on your back. And take your time. If you have a ponytail, you might take it out. Make sure the back of the head or the bones of the skull can be heavy to the earth. And walk your feet close enough to you. Knees are bent, walk your feet close enough to you. Feet about hip bone distance apart. I don't mind for today if they're a little bit wider, if that feels better. But walk them close enough that the weight is not only in the heels of your feet, but you also feel grounded and anchored in the big toe mound and the pinky toe mound. If you're newer to the practice or want to play a little bit, find that block and place that block between your upper inner thighs, or you can place it between your knees as well. If you are choosing to use the block, heel toe your feet so your knees and your ankles are in the same line. I might walk around and help with that as well. Feet about hip bone distance apart. And for today, with the head nice and neutral, I'm not going to turn the head here. Catch the edges of your sticky mat with your hands, please. So catch the edges of your sticky mat with your hands. Roll your palms in towards the body. Roll your palms in towards the body and tuck the corners of your shoulders under like you're tucking in the corners of a sheet. Shoulders tap back towards your mat. Take a breath, please. Feet press straight down. And as you inhale, float your hips up. Knees right over the ankles. And as you exhale, roll it down vertebrae by vertebrae, like a little wave, a little ripple, all the way down. Reversing that wave, inhale, peel yourself up, low back, mid back, upper back. And as you exhale, roll it all the way down. And that is yours. We'll take about 3 more at your rhythm. The next time you rise, consider staying. Consider staying. Shoulders are melting back towards your mat. Grow longer from your armpits to the backs of your knees. And imagine I was drawing your calves forward towards the front of the room. The back of the heart is lengthening towards the back of the room. One more breath. You might even lift your heels up here. And as you exhale, roll yourself down, vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way down. Once you touch down, move the block to the side if that's you. And we'll draw the knees in towards the chest. We'll come into what we call a happy baby pose. Knees are widening. Option to flex the feet and ankles up towards the ceiling. Option A, you might catch the backs of your thighs. Option B, reach inside the knees and catch the pinky toe sides of the feet. If your low back is rolling completely off the earth, please slide your hands down the legs. Breathe. You might rock a little bit from side to side, evoking that energy of a happy baby and not a grumpy grown-up. If you're the one person who laughed, thank you. And then very slowly hug the soles of your feet together. Pause. Bring your hands to your outermost knees. Hug your knees together. Pause. And place your feet flat on the floor, hip bone distance apart. Stretch your arms out to the sides like the letter T. If you're cozy to your neighbor or you want to change the arms, you might reach the arms back parallel towards the back of the room. Bump the hips a few inches over to the right. Draw the knees in and exhale, knees up and over to the left. Easy twist. Maybe that left hand drapes on the top of the thigh, right thigh. Now, you have a block there. You might even have a blanket there. You might slide support between your knee, shins, and ankles, especially if that right arm, right wrist is hovering. You might drape your right hand on your right ribs. Breathe. One more full breath here. Stay for your exhale. Navel softly hugs your spine. One knee at a time. Inhale, come on up. We'll bump the hips up and over to the left. Draw the knees in and exhale, knees up and over to the right. Maybe your right hand drapes on the top of the thigh. Maybe there's a blanket or support between Bringing the nation's ankles. And the left hand drapes on the ribs. Breathe. One more breath. Nice inhale. Stay as you exhale. One knee at a time. Inhale, come on up. Reset. And hug your knees in. Give them a good hug, a good squeeze. You might even curl your nose towards your knees. Make yourself as compact as possible. And relax your head back, stretching out to final relaxation, final Shavasana. So traditionally, the body is flat. It doesn't have to be. Any sensation in your low back, bend your knees and slide a bolster or raise a hand. I will be very happy to slide a bolster or a blanket behind the backs of your knees. So any pulling in your low back, please support behind your knees. If you'd like a pillow for your head, you might slide a blanket there. You might even make a little neck roll. But please take your time. I will walk around if you'd like assistance, if you need help lying back. No rush. If you want to bring your legs up a wall, we have 4 of them. Well, we have 2 legs. Here. 4 walls. Traditionally, the palms roll open in a mudra of receiving. You might even walk the shoulder blades a little bit closer towards one another, as if they were doors holding your heart. And if you have any leftover tension, tightness, anything at all, take an inhale, draw it up. And out the mouth, let it go. Do that one more time. Inhale. And let it go. Rest. Awareness back to the breath. Pointing fingers and toes. Circling wrists and ankles. Stretching and yawning. And I want to give the option to stay resting or stay reclined. Otherwise, beginning to bend your knees. And rolling to rest on a side of your choosing, 2 or 3 breaths, using your upper arm as a pillow. And pressing yourself all the way up to a comfortable seat, just like we started. Maybe elevating your hips a bit higher. Hands resting wherever feels good. Maybe the eyes stay closed. Finding that tall spine. Noticing the breath here. Today we'll be here just about a minute with the breath. We'll call it a meditation. Finding a nice smooth inhale, a little pause, a nice long exhale, a pause at the bottom. And simply following the breath just like that. Pause at the top and bottom, 1 to 3 seconds. And bringing your attention back to that word or phrase that brought you to the practice today. Bringing palms together sweetly at your heart. And we'll seal in our practice together with the sound of one Om. As always, you can choose to listen or to sing. First, a breath. Take a nice inhale. And let it go. Exhale. Inhale. Bowing your thinking mind to your heart, honoring that light within, allowing that light to shine brightly for you and everyone you choose to surround yourself with today and the rest of your week. Lifting your chin, and together we say Namaste, which basically means thank you or I see you. Rest of your day. Take good care. And hopefully I will see you again soon. If you're at home, thank you.